Greg Hackerott, EDL 851, Module 8, Legal Aspects of Teacher Evaluation. Uh, the Every Student Succeeds Act. What this did is in the federal government involvement in teacher evaluation systems, uh, they moved it over for the states to take care of and took them completely out of making the guidelines for what's expected of teachers. It required the states to develop their own goals, come up with their own evaluation tools, and this in turn got us to the process where we're at now, where many factors are used to evaluate the performance of teachers. Not just test scores, not just teacher evaluations or in-school classroom evaluations, but student growth measures can be used. Professional development needs to be a part of it, and so there's many factors now to evaluate. The teacher evaluation heads to court. There have been many litigations since the teacher evaluation process has changed, whereas teachers think it's unfair to be judged on certain things, and thus we're having more court cases. They are over such a subjects as the implementation of the process, how it was put into place, with what rules, how they can get rid of teachers if teachers are still afforded due process or tenure and things like that. The components used to evaluate teachers is also a point of discussion. Things such as student test scores, student growth, and some of the cases that we'll get to later is the band teacher responsible for reading, the growth of students in reading, and we'll talk about that later. There's been court cases of the diversity of the students. If I have more special education students in my classroom, am I held accountable for those student growth measures? And they're saying that these evaluation process doesn't account for the type of students in a classroom. And then tenure is a sore subject. A lot of states have done away with tenure. It was here for a lot of years, and so any big change like that is cause for concern for some. Teacher evaluation, an issue overview. How do evaluations work? Well, today's evaluations, there are several components. It's not just a principal coming into your classroom and watching a class, and then you're done with it. Those were the olden days. Now there's objective measures, many points to check to see if you're to see if you're an effective teacher. There's growth measures, test scores. There is observation. There's what strategies are you using in your classroom? The second thing, what is a teachers union's response? They want better evaluations. They want evaluations that are effective. Their other concern is it should not be tied to pay or tenure. They're a little reserved in that aspect. That tends to create some tension between teachers. And there's concerns over test scores. What's the validity of these test scores? How big is the error? And there's so many outside variables that come into measuring test scores, based on the students, what they were doing that day, if they care about their test scores, or if they already know they're just going to go to work and not go to college, they're not going to put much effort. There's just so many variables out there on these test scores. So is our system working? Well, the evidence out there is not clear. I think we've made tremendous progress. There is some studies out there that teachers who receive high evaluations, high marks on their evaluations, tend to have higher student success on these standardized tests, on the student growth measures, um, and on student performance overall. So it's still a process in work. We're making many adjustments to it, and we haven't seen the end of it. Things are going to consistently change or constantly change, all for the betterment of the student, all to try and make it a better learning environment for the students. Our teacher evaluation process at USD 487, we use the McCrell system. It's supposed to work this way. We set down at the start of the year, we set goals, we set district goals or school-wide goals, and then you set personal goals. At that time, if you're up for observation, which if you're an experienced teacher, taught for 5 years, I believe you're up for observation every third year. If you're new to the district, you're observed every year. Okay, and these observations consist of a couple of times each semester and one formal observation a semester. So usually have a pre-observation conference to talk about what you're going to teach, possibly where you want the evaluator to sit so they don't disrupt the class. Everything that goes into that to make you more at ease so you can give a good performance. Then the observer comes in and observes the class and does the observation, checks off what she checks, goes in and puts all the data into the evaluation tool. At that time, you're sent that evaluation. You come in for a post-observation conference, talk about what's going on, how we can improve, what you did really well, and based upon that, you can improve your teaching. The resources you have as a teacher for the evaluation process, well, it starts with that post-observation conference. You can bring up anything you disagree with. You can discuss what maybe wasn't seen in the classroom or was missed, and that evaluation tool can be changed if you both agree upon that. If there's a bigger problem and you need someone else, the next step would be to meet with the superintendent. The principal or the evaluator could be in that meeting also to discuss your issue with the evaluation or the evaluation tool. If you're not satisfied there, you can meet with the district's K&A rep. One of our teachers is our K&A rep. From there, you go to the Kansas NEA rep. And if you have to go about that, we're talking about lawyers and the due process from there. You would probably be, if you're going that far, it means that the observation didn't go well and you may have been put on a plan of improvement. Maybe you disagreed with that, and that's when you go through that process. Or maybe it's as serious as your job's on the line. And so you would go through this, meeting with the lawyers and going through the due process to make sure they have all their ducks in a row, you have all your ducks in a row. And no one wants a bad evaluation, so maybe you're just going about this because you want it to be fair for you. Legal cases, I looked at the state of Florida, Cook versus Bennett. Their big deal is teachers who teach students or may not even have students that are involved in the standardized tests, like the core teachers. They believe that they're unfairly judged on student growth when they don't believe they have the impact on the standardized test or on the growth of the student. For example, a physical education teacher may not feel that they're improving reading scores throughout the school, or that they even have students who are in a particular class who takes the standardized test, and that's what they think they're being unfairly judged for. The federal court ruled for the state. stating that everybody's involved in this education process, just like we are in our deal. Every teacher is responsible for test scores, reading scores, improving our reading program, um, and the such. And then we're going to move on to improving our math. So every teacher's involved in that. You have to incorporate that within your classroom, no matter what subject you teach. The U.S. Court of Appeals also upheld this ruling, and they are no longer appealing this case any further. As a future school administrator, what would I do to make sure I'm following the law? I would follow the district's policy that's in place, using the evaluation tool that we have in place. I would definitely communicate with teachers, other administrators, about the process to make sure they're very comfortable with it. I would set goals. I would set the building goals. We would look at what we need to improve, and we would set those goals, and I would help teachers set individual goals if they need my help. Provide support. That's what we're there for. We're there to improve teachers' effectiveness, not to bring them down. That's what the evaluation tool's for, is to provide support and put in professional development that's going to help support our teachers. Professional development, we're going to tie that big time, because that's where we improve our teaching strategies. I'm going to develop a professional relationship with our teachers so that they feel comfortable when I come in their classroom, so that these conferences are a little more comfortable for both parties. Okay, and you have to be out in the classroom so that you know what's being done. You can't go evaluate someone one time and know what they're doing in their classroom. Okay, you have to talk to them. You have to listen to other teachers. You have to see them multiple times to get a feel for what they're doing in their classroom, and then document everything. Okay, you have to have those documents just in case something goes bad, or for something that's going really well. You want that documented also. That's my presentation. Thanks for listening. Have a great one.